You guys good?
Yeah,
Yeah, great. Hey guys, can I get your attention for the first group? Let's give it up for them for going up first.
Well, so this is Project Puff. It is a cannabis reference or index. So the idea basically going here was kind of pretty open-ended. We would certainly have like some information as a resource on different strains of cannabis. We want to have users log in. We want to, have basically, documentation of, our users, and then, what their favorites are, what their favorite strains. In the future, the idea was even maybe to sort of link up with the, dispensary or something like that, and list things like prices or, where you can find it, if it's available or not, or if it, is incoming, some cool information there. So with that in mind, we kind of got things started here, and I think we did the best we could, but yeah, certainly a lot more down the pike that we are optimistic about, with what we started with so far. So Project Puff. Yeah, Rob, you want to?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this is our landing page. So you can see this is where you'd sign in if you're coming back as a user, but we also have the option, because we're open to everybody and we want everybody to have a chance to look at this site. You could sign up as well. So everybody has a chance to see what marijuana they want to sample. So then, okay, but we do have a profile, so we're going to check that out. Okay. Mm-mm.
Oh boy.
Hold on, let's go back to and start this over.
Just
yeah, that might be it. Like your thing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm. What is going on?
Oh, well, he pushed enter, so it was gonna send it. Just undo that.
Okay.
And then right.
Got you. Okay, we're in there. Woo! Okay. All right. So this is your profile page. Basically, it starts off with just some general information, kind of giving you some information on the different types of marijuana that you're going to be finding as you're searching, right? So there'd be different types. You got your sativas, your indicas, and your hybrids. It kind of gives you info as you're searching the strains that are available on here of what you're looking for, and to help you out with that. On our nav bar, you can see we have it as our username was Jay. It shows you right there. It says welcome back, Jay, so that you're logged in and that you're good to go. So you're kind of looking at this. You're like, okay, cool. I got some information on this, and now the next stop that you'd want to do is go into your strains home, and what that's going to list is all the available strains that are on here. So the first, we kind of went back and forth a little bit with this part. We were going to try to use an API at first, which we were surprised there is APIs that give you information on strains of marijuana, which is wonderful. But it's just too much. So it just went on too far, and so we were like, hey, like Joe was saying, that we were going to go and kind of cater this to different dispensaries. So that's kind of the idea we went with, where they have a limited selection, where we go to them and be like, oh, you probably have 40 items in stock. So we could say, like, we're going to list your 40 items in stock, and that's what we showed on our tables right here. So this is what we would do: go in, tell us your names that you have, what information you want us to display, what kind, what that is, and then that's the information that we put on here for you. So a big benefit for that also is the the data that comes with MySQL too. So that'd be like the main thing that we'd be able to provide for them, as far as like people's seeing what kinds they're getting, what's more popular, should I reorder this strain, whatever that is. Okay, you want to go?
Yeah, so the next step would be looking at the available strains and then picking, something that you like, and then adding it to your strains.
What kind looks good?
Maybe you would like someone see something they like over here.
There you go.
Peyote cookies. Where are you at? I guess it's down
This
here.
one right here is a little. That looks dangerous.
So this we kind of just added this color very recently in the process, and obviously it does not go very well with the text. But we wanted to get some purple in there, you know, just because of the theme of the whole thing, and we'll work with that. In this dark mess here, you can start to see the name of the strain and then a bunch of info about it. Those were the ones that were added to the seeds page. And then with this button down here, you can add it to your trees.
So it tells you, I think you can click back on it. And it should go
Yeah, and so you can kind of go back and look at that again. You have Bob Ross kind of helping you along the way. It kind of gives you a great little maybe encouragement and excitement about the trees to come. Oops.
So what it is, yeah, listen, it tells you
Go
like, just
back.
like the name that's right here, but you know, we'll
Yeah,
make that more clear.
We're working on
This is the
that.
general information. It tells you what type. So then right here is going to be the hybrid sativa or indica. And then there you go. And then this right here will give you information on like what it tastes like. So or if it's like earthy, woody, sweet, floral, whatever that is. And that's going to help you make your decisions to add it to your trees.
Right. Cool. And then when you've added that to your trees, and you have that listed, you can also delete it from my trees, but
Eventually.
that connection is not working. But what we were really happy with was using the embedded JavaScript to get everything to render and work for the all of the different pages that we had created, the EJS files. So what was fun about that was kind of seeing the web that was taking shape, and we continue to add new files. So yeah, this was a fun project. Are there any questions? Pavan?
What was the tech you used?
Bootstrap for the
sorry,
grids. That's basically the only thing we use. We didn't use any APIs.
We started with one we have. Where is that?
Yeah, so kind of just like everything, full stack, the EJS, MySQL, CSS on there, some of that. So yeah.
Question.
The API again. I can't remember where we put it.
That was on the old EJS right there.
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Trying to go call it what these ones right here. Yeah.
It was part of the original plan that didn't really pan out in terms of, I think mainly the APIs for cannabis provide what's that?
Was that the name of it?
Is evanqc.com.
Oh yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so there's just an immense amount of information there.
And there's another one called Otriba. That's another one too. So there's two of them that we found.
Yeah, and they are full of a lot of information. And one of them even mentioned that unless you were using it like in a very small and consolidated way, to not use it at all because it was going to basically break their server.
Gave you a warning.
So we had stuff like that kind of running into, and all of that sort of funneled us into making probably a more shorthand, way about it. We didn't end up using the Ajax, but I still think that we've got our information on each of the strains, and the flow of the website. We like the way that that's working, and I think that it'll be very useful. So
Could we see your schema file?
yes.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, for sure. So see, our database name is Puff. So some of the tables that we use was the user table. So that's going to be when you log in and it checks to see if you are logged in, and that's what kind of gives you the on the nav bar where your name shows up. So strains, that's going to be that page that has all the strains on there. So that's this information. And this is being populated by all this information right here, right? So this is like the names of the strains. We got the image right there. The first time through, the Varcar 255. Yeah, I had to watch that on here. So yeah, it was going over 255 on that a little bit. But it still gives you a warning, tells you what line, so you just kind of had to go through it. But then that's what's populating that right there. So the My Trees. That is when you click on the like button, and then you can see that gets inserted from the server right here. And so actually, hold on, right here. So then that's where on this part, that's when you go to when you click on that My Strains, is how it's inserting that into the table and why it shows up on that page. Let's see the rest of the schema. And then strains info is when you click on it. That's that information right there. So that's just like that bottom half of the seeds that I showed you. That's that. I just like that page. Anything else?
Where do you guys, you take this to the next level?
I'm down.
I'd like to.
Yeah, yeah, I want to.
I think I'd like to stick with this for. I think that what you can have at the end, and I think that we're not, there, but the idea would be that this is a template for, retail in many senses. It wouldn't just be for, this one industry. This would be something that we would try to template for, if you're trying to sell jeans or hats or something like that, you could use the same format for that sort of, for anything really. This was just an entertaining, way to do it in our case.
Yeah.
How about now? So, okay, cool.
All right, guys, let's give Sandy, Nick, our attention.
All right, so Nick, I want to go on a tour.
What? Let's see. So are you a tourist, or are you visiting town, or you
Yeah.
just like to get out and walk?
Everything, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. I mean, we have quite a few tours, like 26 in all.
Wow.
So you could be scrolling for a while. But
Cool.
is there any particular neighborhood or kind of landmark you're interested in seeing?
Dog Patch sounds nice.
Okay, great. Well, in that case, let's take a look and see like what upcoming tours are available.
Let's do that. Awesome. 11 a.m. Huh, that's a little early.
Wednesday, May 1st.
Yeah. Do you think there's another option?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we could. I mean, you could sign up for that one. Of course, it's on Wednesday. Like, what's your availability?
Well, I'll sign up, but if there's another one, maybe we can do another one.
Sure. I
Okay.
mean, well, first, why don't I add one? Is this Sunday good?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Well, let's see. I guess I can just come in here and all right. So you were saying Dog Patch.
Yep.
And you were saying this Sunday, which is what, the 28th?
Yeah, that works.
What time's good?
4 o'clock. Let's do 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Cool. And let's see, just so you know, dress in layers and wear comfortable shoes. Okay, so basically, let me schedule a new tour. So here we are, and oh, that's a bookmark. Yeah, so here it is. Here's the tour listed on the website, so it's confirmed.
Cool.
And then if you want, you could, just go back and schedule
Oh,
that
okay.
particular tour.
That easy, huh? Okay.
That's Presidio.
Oh,
But
sorry.
I think you want a Dog Patch.
You're right. Let me go back. Let me go back. Just a little. The pictures, they like ooh and ah, you know. Okay. All right. This is the one. All right. Wednesdays. Oh well. Nothing's perfect, so I'll sign up for that. Cool. I'm there. I'm confirmed. I got my date, time. Looks like I'll be the guide. Okay, cool. So
And where
that
does
works
it,
out.
Where do we meet? Like, where does it start?
Oh, look at that, a meeting location. Okay, cool. I can do that.
Excellent. All right.
So that's the app.
That's the
Any questions? Yeah, I can do that. All right, schema. Cool, so we have a table of users and tours. And then a table for scheduled tours, a table for attendees.
Yeah, we're using that for Mapbox, the Mapbox API. Well, it's actually in the database under tours. Go up. There are two floats under tours, two on line 30 and 31. So there are two tours, the latitude and the longitude. Originally, I had an API that like looked them all up. So then I just ended up putting them in the database. So
Cool.
Yeah.
So you looked it all up and you put them.
yeah,
Like
I
just
just
do
stored
it.
it in the database. Originally, I had, but it was I don't know if Google Maps is faster, but this one apparently was like really pretty popular, and like all these people use it, like Amazon, this and that. But in the end, it was like kind of slow, I thought. So I just basically used it to get all the coordinates and then put them in the database. So yeah.
We designed it for mobile, so that's why it looks one-sided, I guess. But yeah, that's the
Mobile and tablet.
Yeah, so we imagine people who sign up, they're going to be walking around, maybe just want to use it on their phone. They can book on the go.
Yeah, so and we used UIKit as a CSS framework, which was pretty flexible. I actually quite liked it. And then just like a ton of Express and obviously Bcrypt and all that. And that's about it. Like just the database and Express. So. But
How did you deal with the times, the times for tours?
We use Moment.js for that.
Nice.
yeah, we use a date timestamp in the database, and it was kind of hard actually to use a JavaScript date object and then like format it for the to insert into the database. So we just had to kind of like write some code, figure out the two formats, and write some code to sort of a function to do the sort of formatting. But it was pretty easy in the end. Something that could be reused a few times. And we also had like little things like, okay, like you as a guide, you can't schedule a tour in the past, or we wanted to add some additional functionality, which was only tours that are today or in the future are actually like listed on the scheduled tours page. So
It's a lot more challenging.
I mean, there's just like so many.
Yeah.
It seems like a simple idea, but there's so many. We still have like a long list of features we could do. We want to be able to like look week per week and see all the tours for that week, no matter the neighborhood.
Is there anything like this right now in the Bay Area?
Yeah, it's actually this is kind of like it's SF City Guides, so it's already an established company that does walking tours, and so this is really like all their data de facto, and in fact it's also kind of just like maybe a great way to like approach them afterwards and see if I can get them as a client feasibly, or just kind of get involved somehow, because their website sucks, for the Bay Area, for the Bay Area, it's still like a static HTML page,
What's it called? SF City Tours?
SF City Guides.
City Guide.
We used EJS. I don't know if that matters.
Yeah, we used a ton of EJS.
Yeah.
The pages and the partials. We used a partial for the header, the footer, all that kind of thing. We did something kind of interesting for the routes, and this is a shout out to Kit, who really gave us a lot of help on how to organize our app. So we have routes for the home page, a route for anything to do with neighborhoods, a route for anything to do with scheduled, a route for anything to do with tours, and then a route for anything to do with users. And they all kind of like get imported into index.js and then required in the app.js. So it's just a really clever way to organize things. So we were really grateful for that initial structure.
And great organization.
Yeah.
What was the toughest SQL that you had to write?
I mean, it wasn't that tough. We wrote some tough SQL. I mean, but just like some nested queries. We did a few nested sort of subqueries, and like interjoining two tables, and then with one subquery that basically takes the email of the user in the session and figures out what that user ID is. So that's probably the toughest SQL query that was written.
Minor feedback. Afterwards, look at the nested queries you did and see if you just turn it into one. Right? It's called the N+1 problem. When you have query within query, and then it's just it's a for loop over query. Whereas it can just be one query instead of a bunch of queries.
Oh, you mean having like two or three nested queries?
Yeah, it could be. It's always best to try to get to one. But within 2 weeks, you guys did amazing.
Yeah.
You guys did incredible.
Oh, that's good. I really didn't know that.
And how long did it take you to come up with that amazing presentation?
Well, actually, I was supposed to be the one wanting to take the walking tour, and she was supposed to be the guide.
I surprised them.
So she surprised me, and so yeah.
Like 5-minute conversation, I think. It was like last night after we finished coding.
We wanted to do it kind of like a role play, kind of like slapstick sort of. And so yeah, but we didn't really rehearse, so it is what it is.
I got stuck in traffic. There was a car fire.
Oh no.
Yeah. But anyways,
Great. Any other questions? Or
All right.
so wondering why that tour that I scheduled didn't show up. Is it in your database?
let's see.
Tour query, like select all scheduled tours where neighborhood. So there's a dog patch or something.
Tours, it said.
Scheduled tours.
Get the name. Is it underscore tours? Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Can you
Is
hear
our
me?
audio good?
Yep.
Hi guys, we are XCon, an end-to-end conferencing solution for the attendee and user and speaker experience.
Yeah, so essentially we wanted to create an app so folks on both the user side and the admin side can help control the flow of event attendees to events, help control the scheduling of events as well too. And in the future as well, we wanted to have a feature so you could add multiple events and keep a schedule of upcoming events as well. So yeah, so we the first kind of process. If you don't have an account, you'll create an account. You'll put in your email. Password. I'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it'll ask you if you're an admin or not. And I'm just a user, so I will say no, I'm not an admin. So from here, I then sign in to the actual conference, put my name, my email, and then who I work for. And here I'll say UC Berkeley. So then from there, I can see a table of all the upcoming speakers, their topics, their titles, a little bit of, obviously background information about what they're going to speak on. And I can then try to decide, from this conference, what I want to go to. If I actually wanted to speak myself as well too at the conference, I can decide to add and talk and add to the schedule as well. So I can put my name, a topic, let's say basketball, and I'll say the history of basketball. And then as well too, I create a 5-digit code. It's kind of like a unique code, unique to me, that I can use to use for sign-in. I can use to identify my conference as well. And all during the back in the meantime as well too, there are a lot of unique different user IDs being created. So there's for my actual account, there's a user ID number associated with me that travels with me no matter what event I'm signing up for. Then there's my attendee ID number, which is specific to that event that I am attending. And then if I also sign up for a speaker, I will also be obviously given a speaker ID number as well too. So I'll sign up there, and you'll see that I'm added to that list as well here. And so then from there, so that we can kind of help keep attendance and kind of help keep track of what events I'm going to, and the speaker can say at the end of the day, I had so many people actually attend my event. Each attendee can actually check in with the speakers when they're at the event. So they can type in their number. So like I say, if I was 1, and then, they would, when they were in the conference, they would learn that, Lisa Noel's ID number is 5, or she could give her personal code as 5-digit code as well too, and enter that. And that goes to a table where it keeps track of the speaker IDs and the attendee IDs as well. And then from there, like I say, you can go back to the table, and you can continue to sign up for other conferences over and over again. So that's kind of the basic features for like one specific conference. Kind of our stretch goal additionally as well too. I can't see it on my screen. Go home here.
Oh, it's because the
Yeah, I gotta move this.
the controller's in the way.
Let's move that. All right. Back to the home. So yeah, just a little bit more of here's more of our home screen here. Just kind of a little bit of a breakdown of how the site, stuff like that. Just a little. We use Materialize here to kind of help create the web page. And so 2 other features that we started to build out, but I kind of want to see through and kind of want to create is the ability to actually sign up for multiple events. Right now, it's only functional for like one set event. But I want it so that folks can also come on and create their own conference, create their own events, and also users can come on and see multiple different events that they can sign up for. So through here, folks can add their own event. So let's say, basketball again. This is going to be a very specific conference this time. And we'll say everything you need to know about basketball. The event capacity, how many people, and then the date as well too of when you're going to have the event. Add the event, and then when someone comes on the site, wants to see the upcoming list of events, they can see all the events there, and then they can RSVP to the ones that they like to go to as well. So that's kind of the basic kind of functions for the user side of things, and then Haven, I'll hand it over to you to kind of show them the admin side.
All right, so in the sign up screen, this true and false value that we save to the users table, and then using EJS as well as some plain JavaScript, we can render certain features, certain pieces on our pages that weren't there before for our regular users. So you may have noticed that when Aaron pulled up the schedule last time, there was kind of an empty column page with the codes. That's very much intentional because we don't want our users to know the codes for the speakers that they're supposed to be attending, because that serves as sort of a check-in attendance system for purposes of verification for their employer, or say whoever's hosting the event wants to get an accurate count of who's actually attending. That data can be very valuable. So going into our...
Well, you want to show them the delete too?
Oh, yeah. And there's the delete button as well, because we want to be able to remove and add speakers from a particular event on the admin side. But again, we don't want our users to have access to those privileges.
And then also here you'll see, so that they come to this almost like, other than obviously what he just showed you with the codes and the deletes, they come to the exact same page, the schedule of the events. But you'll notice, shouldn't it be there?
It should be there.
Huh. Try this again. That's weird.
Yeah, we encountered quite a few bugs with
Oh, there it
this
is.
that we were trying
Yeah,
to
so you'll see at the bottom here as well too, if you're an admin, it also shows admin, see and edit the attendees list. So from there you can actually see all the folks who are attending the conference, and you can actually get some valuable information and actually input some valuable information on the back end as well here too. So like I say, you see their name, their emails, the company that they work for. But we also added like kind of 2 features that are very common at events and conventions that we want to make sure folks are able to, pick up their swag, pick up their lunch, but they're not like double dipping, coming back, getting more and stuff like that. So we added a feature for them, for folks to be marked for their lunch and for their swag and stuff like that. And then we have it coded as well too, so that even if you refresh a page, it stays that way. It does, it doesn't change once you have marked them that way. In our schema, we used a Boolean, and it's defaulted as false, and then it can be changed to true. And if you do make a mistake, you can go back and make it false again and change it back. And then just like the speaker side as well too, we added a delete function so that folks can be deleted if they decided not to attend the conference. You kick them out or wherever. And then we added a timestamp as well too, just as kind of a useful tool if the conference needs a reason, to decide, to determine when someone signed up for the conference, if they're determining, if they were past a deadline or something like that, or any type of purpose they need, just to kind of know the order as well too of when folks signed up. So yeah, so that's kind of the basic function of XCon.
Can you show the code where you decide between true and false for admin and how the page is?
Oh boy, that is complicated.
I'll have you go, since you did most of that or all of that, I will have you go through it. So
Sure.
I'm just make it viewer friendly here. It was on the server, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, starting off with our server.js file, whenever an attendee would sign up or log in, let me find those routes.
They're on the bottom.
Yeah. Sign up or log in, we would, well, first of all, on sign up, there's an individual column called admin that we either assign to true or false based on their input in the form on the sign up page. And then on the sign in, all we're really doing is we're querying our tables, and then based on the value of that column, we assign right here with rec.session.admin status and save that. And then
I know that was some work, because for a while we were getting where if you initially signed up as an admin, it's like all the admin features were working for you. But if you logged in as a non-admin, or you signed up for a non-admin account and try to log back in with the admin account, the admin features weren't reappearing. So I know you had to spend a lot of time getting that to actually work.
Right. It was pretty tricky. It got a lot of bugs, and we got rid of most of them. But going into the schedule page, this is where we did one of our main checks right there. We were having some issues using true Booleans. So at some points we have the string value true, and at other points we have the actual Boolean value true. Not the cleanest code, but it worked well.
And even as of tonight, like I was testing it and it stopped working for some reason again, and so I had to put back in the Booleans.
Very finicky.
Yeah,
if I did this again, I think I would commit to a specific convention for making these checks. Additionally, we had in the that's not right. Oh, right, here we go. In the schedule select JavaScript file. So here we performed the same sort of check, and then as far as this button to delete speakers, we performed that check and would only append the delete button if that conditional evaluated true. Yeah.
Can you explain again as to why there's many IDs that is associated to the user when there's some?
Yeah, so there's the init. So ideally, we wanted to have. I want to build this out eventually so that it's a landing site for you to create multiple events. So it's an event management and creation site. So a user is going to have like a user account ID number for that, like for XCon, for you to have an account number for the site to actually run the site. And then the other two ID numbers are going to depend on based on the conferences that you sign up for, and also if you sign up for a speaker at that conference as well too. So think of this way, like your user ID number stays with you no matter where you go, no matter what you do. If say I sign up and I'm ID number 3, I always be ID number 3. But say for one conference, the 54th person to sign up, another one I'm the 67th person. That's like my unique ID number for that specific conference. That makes any. Hopefully that helps make sense.
If you're a speaker, do you have to sign up as a speaker for every conference, or are you set for?
You would have to sign up for every conference as of right now. Yeah.
What was the most complicated SQL query you guys wrote?
Didn't feel like any of them were all that complicated.
Yeah, we didn't have really like any joins or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just, trying to get information from our users, and we just used the email column to perform that check. Yeah, I don't remember any of our queries really being that complicated.
How did you guys decide to use EGS in some places and AJAX in some places?
For lack of a better idea, for the most part. Yeah, I was trying to work out those admin privileges using, just a bunch of AJAX calls, and it was getting really, really hairy. And EJS just seemed like the right way to approach it. Yeah.
I think it literally came down to things that he handled and kind of things I handle, and then like I wrote some stuff in Ajax and he switched it over to EJS and stuff like that for when we needed it, because I would create the basic pages, the basic Ajax stuff, but then when we had to edit the admin stuff, that's when he could switch it over to EJS.
It's a motley crew of solutions all just thrown in together.
Great job.
What's that?
You made the logo?
I did. I just
What did you use to make?
I just found a site.
Hi everyone, I'm Jyotika. This is Marisol. We created a trivia single pair game. So you want to open it? Yeah. So it's a question and answer game where on sign up the user gets a username, like he puts in a name and it is unique. And then you get an option to select a difficulty level for the questions. And according to that, you get a selection of topics. So every question that is correctly answered gives you some amount of random points. The basic level has lesser points, which are random, and advanced level has a little bit more random points. And then at the end of the questions, you get to see your ranking, your team's ranking, and the scores, and all that stuff. Okay, so let's. So you want to start with a new user, maybe.
So when you sign up, you are given the option to choose from which teams. At initial, you're given you're already been pre-selected by the code, but you still have the options to choose from the 4 that is given. And then
you sign up, login. Yeah. So here the difficulty level easy, difficult. So any topic you would like to choose, yeah.
So basically, we borrowed the idea from one of our homeworks, if you notice.
Yeah.
And then for every question, you're given about 10 seconds. And then by 5, you're given an alert to like go ahead and answer it, just like this one. And then if you get the wrong answer, it would color up it's wrong, and then it would give you the right answer.
So the like, feedback is immediate, whether it is right or wrong. Yeah. So this is the score for this round, and then your current rank and the team's rank. So then, do you want to play again? If I say no, game over, and that's your final score, current rank and the team rank. Here is where you get to know your username, your rank, your team name, the team's rank, and there is a logout function. Here you have a leaderboard where you get all the players and their ranking. So Sandy is leading right now. And yeah, so these are all the players. Now you want to see just the teammates, and if people are really putting in effort.
So you get to see which one is dragging you down and which one is really making an effort on the game.
Yeah. So, okay.
And
then you have all the teams and their rankings.
And then you get to see how many players are there for each team.
Yeah. So these are the number of players per team. So even though Ravenclaw has 3 players, it's still leading because I think Sandy is the one who is, yeah. And then here also, this is all sessions. So here also you can check out what is the current position of your team and everything. You can select the topics by going here, and still your session remains. And we made this responsive. This is all Bootstrap. Yeah. Now if you log out, it shows this page again. And if you try to sign in existing user, username already taken. So then you have to log in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's one way that we also use to test our session if it's working is to open up another tab and then type in the same address. So if a user is currently logged in and the session is still existing, so it should bring you up to the to the game page. We're not able to do multiple browsers yet, so just multiple tabs for the session. And then,
yeah, so about the code.
So for the password, instead of bcrypt, we use MD5 because the only information that we store there is the username and their passwords, which I do believe they won't provide their email passwords and such. And plus, if you would see here on the way we create this sign up, there you go. So this is the MD5. So it only requires a single line to encrypt your password. But later on, if we want to expand the particular application, then maybe we will use the bcrypt, depending on what kind of information we want to save on our database.
Anything special you would like to say about the sessions or
Right. So for this session, there's one thing that I encountered during this session. Every time I do an update code, even if I'm still signed in, whenever I do a refresh, it logs me out. So I don't know why. We're still doing what do you call this? A check or research on that part. And then
and about the question and answers.
all right.
Yeah.
So for the question and answers, this is I would consider the trickiest SQL for me because I have to do it in one line. And so one thing that I've learned in this particular part is the usage of group concat, where you can put all the rows into a single row, because we have to get all the answers for the particular question as well as the correct answer for that question. So what do you call this? And then no, I don't think.
I think group concat is
a
window function.
Sounds like lag, but crazy.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but
like you can put a separator if you put the question, and then in the answers column, when it is concated together, you can put a separator, whether you want a comma or a semicolon. So like you can even have like easy, difficulty, and the categories in easy, and then semicolon, then difficult, and then comma, and all the categories. So like that, you can do a lot of stuff with that.
So it's gonna return a string, and it depends on whether you want to return it as a string or you want it to return as an array. So in this part, we did use it as to return it. We split it and then return it as an array. And then another thing that I've learned on the SQL part is when we were doing an update, for this part, instead of doing a nested SQL query, we are able to use the column name as a variable and then add a certain value for it, instead of doing a select for the ID and then update the score.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we used a window function called denserank for most of our queries. So Pawan guided me through it. I was doing row number. So what row number, where is that? Wait, just let me, not this one. Yeah. So there is a window function called denserank. What it does is it assigns a rank to each row within a partition that you mentioned. Like here, I have mentioned it over order by user score. So for users, every user score, it creates a partition, and then it gives a rank to that user score. And if the user scores are tied, then it gives the same rank to those users. Whereas row number, what it does is it gives a sequential rank to every row, and there is no same rank for the tied score. So dense rank was very useful for us over here because the rank of a row is increased by 1 from the number of distinct rank values which come before the row. Yeah, so that's the new thing that we learned.
And then for features that we are thinking about for this project is that we're going to design an admin page wherein that particular user can control the questions that needs to be modified, added, or deleted. And I think that's pretty much for the admin, or whoever can change the password for a certain user just in case they forgot it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
maybe use an API in future for all the questions.
And then we are also thinking that on this part, since it's going to be like more than 10 users who have, we are planning to add a pagination in which we can assign, like, for every page there's 10 number of 10 users to display. And then another one is that for every column, there's going to be a sorting function so that the user can sort depending on an ascending or descending order. And then for every column, there's also a search function so they can easily check or get all the information that they need through this search. So, for example, if I only need those who are in Team Ravenclaw, I can use that as a search. Then all of the players who are in that team will show up.
Versus this, like this is only for your teammates, but if you want to like group every team separately, then that function would be helpful.
That's pretty much.
Yeah, I had like fun time querying all this, like all these queries on the results page. I just went all the way, like I want to do this, I want to do that. I just had fun with MySQL. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What did you say for framework you?
Bootstrap? Yeah.
And when you first sign up a new account, is the house assigned randomly?
No, you pick.
On initial, just to avoid like unnecessary validation, the program give you it's not random. It's always the first one, and then the user can select which one.
Oh, so yeah, so this is what were you asking?
Yeah, I thought it was random, but you would choose.
Oh, no, you have to choose which
I
house
wish we
you
could do
want. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
How did you come up with the concept of teams?
As in?
Well, I know we did this as a trivia homework, but how did you come up with the idea of like, or why did you create teams?
So like in future, we want the user to create his own team also and add players if he wants. So basically the concept was actually like a multiplayer game, but we went single player, and this was a good exercise for the MySQL queries, including the teams. Otherwise it would have been just users and we couldn't expand more on that. Yeah, maybe in the future we could make this multiplayer game or something like that. Like you create your own team. If you reach a certain number of points, you create your own team, add players, something like that. Yeah.
Where did you get the Triviosa?
Oh yeah, that is the Harry Potter reference. Like when Ron Weasley is fighting with Hermione, he says Wingardium Leviosa.
It's not
so
Leviosa.
she's like, it's not
Leviosa,
it's Leviosa,
not Leviosa.
Yeah,
That's
so
very
it's
bad.
something.
Oh,
like
the logo? It's at flamingtext.com.
Ah, yeah.
Was it flamingtext.com?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I know what your final project is.
Oh. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
I forgot to mention the what you said is the part of the feature. When the user, when they search a certain thing, they can create their own team.
I just remembered it on the fly.
What are you pointing at? Yeah, how's the audio? Okay. Thanks. All right, perfect. So my name's Derek. Janok couldn't make it tonight, so I'm going to present on his behalf. Hopefully it won't be too embarrassing for him. Janok and I wanted to build an application that enabled individuals to create small donation centers in usable space and allow nearby users to make donations in kind at that location. So just to preface this, it's partially working. We do have some issues, and I'll go over that at the end. I think it's more interesting to talk about kind of what those issues are that are holding you back. So it goes to a certain point and the wheels kind of come off and it breaks down. So we'll get there. So we called our application Tiny Donations. As you can see there, it's built in Node, Express, MySQL is the database. We used HTML and EJS. So there's some static pages, there's some HTML, and Bootstrap for the CSS framework to get it all together. Right here on the homepage, it's just has the Bootstrap carousel. We slap some images in there, a little bit of copy. Some action items down here in the bottom half of the page. A user can come up, sign up, donate, about just kind of pops you back in there, or log in. The donate page is kind of where everything filters to. We use Google Maps API for donation center location after a user puts it on the map. So we'll come back to this page and see what's up. So on the sign up page, typical sign up, come through first, last name. I'm gonna call myself DB. And these are static pages, by the way, the sign up and login. What? I forgot what I. All right. That's actually not the part that's broken. My memory is broken, I think is what's wrong. Let's make that password really secure. Okay, so we're in. So this is the basic user profile. This is someone that's not a donation center. At this point, there's a flag in the database. I'll talk about that later. What I did is I created a column called user groups, which is good, but I wouldn't do it again in the same way I did it. It caused a lot of problems. But at this point, it defaults to donor as a user group. When someone upgrades to a donation center, it overwrites that, it updates that column to a donation center, and it creates a new set of what I'm going to call permissions, but that's actually total BS. All right, so we pop into create a donation center, and it's a form, just slides down there. We'll call that we'll call our donation center the UCB Bootcamp. Address is I think we're 160 Spear. Is that right? Nine 4105. I'm gonna go with that. Days available. Let's say we're Monday through Friday. I'm gonna put the hours that your space is available for the public to come by and make a donation. So we'll just call it 9 to 5. Then we have instructions. We'll just say gray trash can. Might be 2 words. We'll say. So we have the profile information. So we go ahead and pop in. We're no longer a donor. We're now a donation center. We could add donations accepted. Some people don't want like pallets of used computers to come to their tiny donation center. So we give the option. We'll call ours. We're going to say we accept canned food. And cash. So this just adds to a separate table actually, and that needs to join here, but we're having issues with database issues, so I'll also talk about that later. But these are the donations accepted from the UCB Bootcamp, and you could delete donations as needed. This, I'll do, is not finished, but we'll do that at a later time. The location map uses HTML5 to geolocate you, so it kind of just popped over right where we are, and let's just estimate where that is. The info window, you pop it open, it populates your profile data into the info window, so you can double check whatever you're going to tell people. You can see that the instructions are there. So we go to save location, and it should have populated it and saved it. It looks like, oh, my previous account is here too. You'll notice actually while I'm on it, see everything from location name down, and they're both donation centers, even though I couldn't even log into this account. Therein lies like a big part of the problem with our database. Right now, I'm not, sessions aren't working properly. So I'm not able to select from the table using rec session user ID properly. So the whole thing just doesn't work, but in that sense. But it's kind of cool. You can move your pin, save the location, and you can see that the lat longe will update for each user in the database in case it needs to be updated. So that's pretty much it. Now we have a donation center, we have a pin, we have a window with the information, and then we can come as a user to the site. I don't need to log in. I can make a guest donation. So allow geolocation. It shows you where we are. So I'm nearby. I have some stuff I want to get rid of, some old sweaters or some canned food or what have you. So I found the UCB Bootcamp is accepting canned food. It's nearby where I am. Go to donate here. It populates the modal. It's just a bootstrap modal with the location, what they accepted. You give it a donation value. The point of this is actually the user, the guest user, whoever it is, could actually have a voucher for their taxes at the end of the day. So I allowed them to actually print the page, and it just prints the modal, the information that's on there. Or they could go completely through, and this should blow up when I click this. But yeah, I mean, it went back to the profile, and it actually was logged into the other guy, which is fine. We go over here to donations made. So we can see that a donation value of canned food for $50 was made. I used date time as a timestamp into the database, and it gave it the user ID there. So that is the application.
A built-in function or something
It's something that I added. It's just a jQuery function. Yeah, but it's included in HTML5, I believe. You just got to call it something like that. I didn't look very hard for it.
I like the front end. Would you use front end?
That's Bootstrap. Yeah, and it's a combination of HTML and EJS files. Unfortunately, I mean, it was really frustrating that. So what was happening with sessions, and why it was frustrating when I'm saying this isn't working, and it's not complete, is I couldn't destroy a session on logout. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And so when I created a new user and I started adding data into that user, it was just inserting it into everybody's spot in the database. And I was like, why aren't sessions being destroyed? Well, it turns out they weren't being destroyed because they couldn't be destroyed, because we're setting a cookie for 60,000 milliseconds, and we're not using touch for the session or some sort of refresh on the cookie. So if it's sitting on that page and you go to log out, there was nothing to destroy. So it just kept the same spot in the database. And so everything just was getting minced. Yeah, it was a tough learning thing. I wasn't too familiar with sessions and how they worked before that. So I really just kind of stopped working on the last table, the last part of the UI, which would have been the guest donor. And when you make a donation, just to pull, we already have the JSON, we're storing at the table, but to actually put it in a UI for the users and make it print from their profile. I stopped looking into it because I was trying to fix this session issue, and I just wasn't handy enough to be able to get down to the bottom of it. And I had to pull back the way I was doing my SQL queries in the app to actually pull out things like where ID equals rec session, user ID, and all the things that were specific to it, just to get a baseline working version across one user, which is what you guys saw there. This is the schema. No one asked, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. So one thing I want to talk about is the stupid flag for user group that I did here. I think in the future, you had mentioned using roles, Pavan, when we pitched the project. It's okay, but I guess the way I used it, I think I'd do a permission group and create different permissions, and then could use a joining table to join it. But where I really went sideways was not doing what Aaron and Haven did with their user group switch and presenting different pages and stuff. I half-assed it with a bunch of jQuery and did a bunch of hide show. It was it was stupid too, yeah. And it was like, so it just was hard to keep track of, and things. I was like, oh, I'm going to show this button when this flag
When you
is
learn
just
React,
yeah.
then what you just said will be 10 times easier.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I look forward to that. It was just unfortunate. And then when I'm looking at it and working on that with the app, I just realized it was a poor decision. Yeah, that's it.
I like how you made like an API for donations. It's really it's an interesting concept.
Thanks.
I wonder what people would do with that kind of data. They just had like an API
Of donations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, who knows? Maybe it could be linked up with for tax purposes to a tax software, something like that, or Uber. Yeah.
Value upright for their idea.
Right. I have to fix the database issues first. I don't think anyone's buying. We good? All right.
What page?
Ah.
Hi. This is Pantry Pal. Hi, I'm Kwa. This is
You're doing so well.
this is Kristen and
Nadir.
This is Pantry Pal. This is an app that lets you track what foods that you currently have in your pantry or fridge and when they're going to expire. And it's a way to help fight food waste, because food waste is a big problem in America.
Cool. So we're going to get started now. So that takes you to the login/sign up page. If you're a brand new user, you can click this button down the bottom and type in your info. Oops. All right. Okay, and it automatically logs you in as a new user and takes you to the home dashboard, which is the main page that you're going to be working with. Since you're a brand new user, your pantry is empty, you have to go to the inventory page to add new items.
So this inventory page currently has all of the core foods. And when I say core foods, these are the foods that we manually put into our database. We found all the pictures and all the names and expiration dates. And the special things about these core foods is that they can't be deleted by the user. And what I mean by that is, you see that we have an add button here. If we wanted to add a special cheese, we have now a custom food. Since we can't anticipate, what the food the user is going to put in there, they can put anything in there. We're just going to give it a generic picture. And if you add another food, you see that they have the same image. This is just an image file with a specific number for custom, and only the icons created with this add button is going to have this image. Yeah. So, and the other thing is, when you try to delete, only the custom icons that you've created can be deleted. This is to ensure that we don't delete our core foods, which every single user will share. Yeah. So let's say we want to delete cheese. Cheese is gone, but everything else.
And to be clear, the custom foods are unique to that specific user ID. None of the other users would see them.
Yes, correct. Add it to the home page.
So if we have items that we want to add to the home page, we can just select them here and add to home page. It'll automatically direct us back to our home dashboard.
And so these are basically the items that you're interested to have in your pantry that you might want to buy at some point. And whenever you decide to buy them, you can just go on the item and you click on that icon, and it changes color. So green means it's still fresh, and the 14 here means it has 14 days until expiration. So let's say we're gonna click on avocado. It says 3 and it's green. Crackers that we added with 12 days of expiry, it shows as 12.
All right, and just to demo that color change function, do you want to speak to the color changing aspect?
Yeah, so while we log in, this is kind of like what it's going to look like. It takes there's a function that takes in the expiration time and also the time of purchase. And based on that, it returns an RGB value that's it takes it away from green and towards I guess red or pinkish. And yeah, it just shows it on the screen. It changes the background colors. And also you can delete the items that you want to remove by clicking that X.
And the items on the home dashboard are also, so they have the color change to let you know how close something is to expiry, but they're also sorted to the home dashboard page in order of days to expiry.
Let's click on it. Let's say we just bought more avocados. It's green again, so we know that the purchase time has been reset, or the expiry date has been reset.
And also when you remove an item from here, let's say we want to remove raspberries, we can go back to inventory page. It's going to be removed, so we don't have it here.
Yeah, that's our app.
I was
curious, how does it know the expiration dates of like custom foods?
You manually enter it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. On the add function, it's got.
That's 2 inputs. Yeah.
And we see the code where they like calculate the expiration. And then
So for the color change or.
and the expiration.
Cool. So I can show you the color change. The expiration is actually, we hard coded that in
That's
the
just in the
database.
database.
Yeah. But for the, ooh, where's the pages? So this is the code for the color change. It's this function that takes an expression in hours and hours to expiration. It calculates a percentage, like it's like life, percentage, like remaining life of that food item. And based on that, it basically like calculates the amount of R, G, and B, so the red, green, and blue hues. And then it returns that as an array. And then it gets put on the page. It gets added to the page, to the CSS, or the style of the div.
Oh, nice on 970.
Yeah,
Nice.
like here.
Great job on this. It looks so simple, like there was a lot going on behind the scenes, but when you make something look this simple, that means that you did a good job, right? One thing here, one minor piece of feedback is this function is great. I love it. It should be inside the route. So that comes from the route, you should send RGB values to the front end somehow.
That's true.
Yeah, but other than that, this page is great.
Cool.
We see your schema.
Yeah.
That's up top.
It's really straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Just 3 tables.
Basic.
So we were talking when we first started this how to organize all the food so that we can just have one table for all the foods for all the users. And what we came up with was to have one last column with the specific user ID. So all the core foods are going to have an ID of 0, so they're always going to be displayed. And then the foods that are custom are going to have the ID of their user. And the query that we use to pull all the food is right here. So it's going to take all the foods with the ID of 0 or the ID of the current user. So that ensures that people can have their custom foods and it will only display for them for whatever ID number they are, user ID number. Yeah. So that was one way. So that was a way that we set up the database so we don't have to do any tricky queries to grab multiple data of custom tables of foods. We just have one big table and just grab that.
Is good because that custom user ID column will never have a blank value, right?
Yeah.
So, but it is better to have a normalized them because like when you see user ID, you just expect it to be 1 or above, right? But
Wait, what?
Having blank values is
good. Oh, okay. Yeah.
How'd you come up with the idea?
I kept buying like a bunch of salmon, but I bought it in such large pieces I wouldn't eat it all, and it kept like going bad really fast, and it pissed me off.
How did you decide what your default values, expiration values? Did you pull them somewhere, or did you just?
Yeah, we pulled that from a website. Yeah.
So avocado goes bad every day.
Yeah,
Or
it
less,
does.
yeah.
On average, yeah.
Goes back really fast.
So if I have a food that is about to expire in 2 days, and then I have another, I have the same set of food but different expiration date, how do you present that?
Multiple icons for the same food item, you're saying? Like you
Um,
bought one bunch of bananas last week and another one you're going to buy tomorrow?
I mean, yes. So how do you how would you present that on the database, and then how would you show the color for the expiration? Is it going to be a separate icon for that?
It would be. We don't have that functionality right now, but they would be represented by separate icons with separate expiry dates, each displayed on the home dash.
And different colors too, depending on expiration.
It's a pretty cool idea. For your final project, maybe you can make a marketplace where I'm like, I'll buy.
Expired food. Come on, you don't need to do that.
It's $5.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Great job, guys. Super simple.
Hear me now? All right. So welcome to the world of dummy games. So dummy games are the two games that I created in this class. A little bit about dummy games. Well, anyway, on the home page, you have both games that I created, Hood Rap, Hangman, and Dukimon. And you have the leaderboard, which just shows the top 6 scores in the database. So that would be just the home screen. If you're like the leader, then you're going to be on the home screen. You can go to About, where it says Dummy Games is the dumbest games on the internet, made for idiots by idiots. Here at Dummy Games, we believe that humor and art can come together to create something dope. We also believe in the freedom of speech and the right to express yourself freely. We understand that in today's world, people can be babies. So if you take offense to anything on Dummy Games, you can just go ahead and get the hell out. You can play Dummy Games without an account. Or if you want to compete against other users, then you'll need to log in before playing. Feel free to check the all-time leaderboard to see where you stand compared to the rest of the world. So if you go to the leaderboard, you'll see, this is going to be like a select star from the database for each games, select star from the game score database, and then broken up by each game. So I have a column for each game. So if it's a score for Hood Rap Hangman or a score for Dukimon, then it's going to go here. And, eventually if I had, 2,000 people, you could go find yourself on here somewhere and be like, hey, I'm number, 200 out of 2,000, So right now there's only 4 users in the database, and that's me, my mom, my dad, and my girlfriend. So that's what we got so far. But you can also just play the games. The reason why I wanted to make it so you could just play the games is just for the fun of if you don't want to compete, you can still just come in and play. Some people might not want to create an account and they want to play first before they want to compete. So they can just go to Hood Rap Hangman and then they can just start to play. So obviously I don't know if I didn't show you guys this, but Hood Rap Hangman, you just hit the space bar. And basically what it is it's like rap songs with like hints, and you have to try to guess what song it Basically, like type in anything besides like retry or play. So basically, like a tutorial. So like if you for some reason didn't get how to play, you could do retry and do this again. Or if you think you got the gist of it, then you can press play. If you type in anything else, then it's just going to keep giving you this pop-up box with alert. So if I say play, then it's going to randomly choose from any of the songs that I have, and you'll be able to pick through right now with A, B. And so you can just continue to play, and it's going to be like Bay Area rap, East Coast rap, every kind of rap. And there's also going to be like a fun hint to go in this. So like American rapper Messi Marvis from which different who knows that? then there's also other things like this. So like things that are a little bit more edgy, which is about like if you get offended, then I don't want to play these games because who knows the answer to this. I don't feel like I'm putting blood on it. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of fun things like this. So yeah, anyway, so that's Hood Rap Hangman. And then if you wanted to, you could also go play Dukemon. And Dukemon's also, oh, well, one thing I didn't show you too, I don't know if you saw it, but as you're playing, if you hit the space bar, I also put the, but then we go to Dukemon. So I don't know if you guys can read that or not, but deep in the heart of San Francisco's Tenderloin District lives the Dukemon in their natural habitat, also known as Dukeyland. In Dukeyland, Dukemon can be observed at all hours of the night, participating in their own microeconomy. The microeconomy sees cash flow from normal society into Dukeyland, through Dukeyland, eventually back into corporate America. It's one big game where the crackhead collects money from the city dwellers, non-Dukemon, passing through or parking in Dukeyland. The drug dealer sells drugs and collects money from the crackhead. The drug dealer uses that money to pay for the hoes. The hoes give their money to the pimp, and the pimp eventually gets the crackhead's dookie on his clothes and is forced to go buy new clothes from corporate America. This is the game of Dukemon, and then like here's the rules. So you press space bar, and you can choose between the crackhead, the and they all for example, the crackhead, his power is sidewalk defecation, and if this attack works against nice clothes, the more money spent on your clothes, the more it costs you to take the damage. So it's shining, that's his I start off with the crackhead. I'm going to shoot the crackhead. Now I got to take my first opponent to do. I'm going to click the pimp. And then you can attack. And then crackhead use sidewalk defecation on the pimp. Pimp counter with stop and collect. And then you fight each other on this way. And so, you can eventually log in, or sorry, so let me just go back to home so it's not music. So you can, log in or register, cancel, or register to play, and then your scores will be updated into the database and then put on the all-time scoreboard. And if you're a leader, then you're going to be on the front page. And this is Dummy Games. Yeah.
What do you use for the rap music?
Those are all just songs that I have. So if you look, like I have.
Oh, so you just have them as audio files?
Sorry, yeah. So they're all, where are they? Yeah, just tons of audio files that I have here. My plan is, because I have so much music on my computer, I figure I'm just going to go through and find 500 songs that I like and then just put them on there. I don't know how I would do that with a server in order to have all that, but that was how I did the first thing. I didn't use an API because I did Hood Rap Hangman back when we had to do the Hangman game. So that was based off of doing songs like this. Plus, I'm going to do some underground things that wouldn't be on Spotify or anything that I could use an API for.
Can we see your schema?
Sure, my schema is not really that awesome, but let's see. Oops.
What's the off thing on line 9?
Oh,
that's authorization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's it. Yep. Oh yeah, my parents love these games. Yeah. No, I show them what I'm doing, and they're like, because they already know that for me, I'm taking this class because I want to build things on my own. They're like, good thing you're not trying to get a job after this, because these aren't things you want to put on your portfolio.
That's what you're showing it to, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's it.
These are great games. I would play this.
Yeah, well, I try to make games that are going to be fun for people. I mean, I know it's more like an edgy crowd to play, but like all my friends love it. Like they all played the games before I made the app, so like now I got to get them all to sign up and play because I want them to potentially fight against each other to see who's going to get the best score on all of those. So we'll see. Awesome. That's it.
My name is Aji, and my project is called Toy Circles. It basically is an idea that came about from the fact that I have a 3-year-old who has a ton of toys that are always given to him. So I came up with an idea for a startup, which we will do like some sort of toy swap. So basically send toys out to families and then have them send toys back to us in return. However, for the purposes of this project, I just did a subscription service where you're just subscribing to have new toys sent to you monthly. So yeah, so this is what we have. This is my homepage. So I'm calling it About. So when you come here, it has a brief description of Toy Circles. I'm going to flesh that out more eventually, but for this project, it's just welcome to Toy Circles, a toy subscription service that sends you new and exciting toys that your kids will love every month. And then it also talks about the sign-up process. So you have a few images of the toys that we have in stock or might have in stock, and then you have the sign-up button here. So I'm going to start with the login page just to show you what an existing user will look like. So we're going to start with the login page, and you have just regular login, email, and password. So I already have existing subscribers that I actually inserted into my subscribers table using the seeds file. So I already have this just to show what a user who's already subscribed would look like. So when I log in, it just goes to a dashboard. And then the dashboard will just show you what toys that have been curated for you for this month. And I'll talk about the curation later because it's basically drawing from the database where it's linking your interests and connecting that to your subscriber ID and then showing you what these toys are. And then it also has an expected arrival date. So and then you're gonna have history as well. So this is basically a simple table with months and toys. So basically in the month of January, you got these toys sent to you. So it's gonna do them by name, which was a little tricky for me to do because I could do them in the beginning with just showing the toy ID, but I wanted the name, so it like had a lot of MySQL joining, which I did get some help with. So I'm gonna log out, and then it takes me back to the sign up page. So now I'm just gonna sign up, which is of a completely new user. So when you click sign up, it brings you here, and it has an About You section, and it has an About Your Children section. So for the About You, it's just a new subscriber, so I'll use Joe, I guess, and then you can do a full name or just first name. Joe, should I do your full email or just make something up?
Joe.
Okay. Joe, and then password.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. And for address.
Sesame Street.
Okay, Sesame Street. And about your children, how many children do you have? If you're on here, you're supposed to have at least one kid. So.
Joe, what are you doing out there?
Yeah, for now I stopped at 5 just because we're in America and most people don't have more than 5 kids. But where I'm from, we do because I'm one of 7. So yeah. So 1. Okay, so we're gonna do 1 age 3. So here's ages. If you had more than 1 kid, you could just do 3 comma and then the age of the other kid. And then here you have the interest table, which is what I referred to earlier. So it's just different categories and you're gonna click on whatever you want to click on, whatever matches your kid's interest, and then you're gonna sign up. So after you sign up, sorry, but what password keeps popping up. Once you sign up, it takes you to your dashboard, and then it's gonna show you, since your interests were Legos, so it has a Lego, and then cars, it has a toy train. I put that on the cars because, I mean, I didn't want to have a cars category and a train category. So, and then it's gonna show you the name. So for this, I just use very simple Bootstrap just to align the images and then to have the names under the images, and then it has an expected arrival date. And when you go to history, because you're a new subscriber, it just shows you what toys is gonna be sent to you this month. So to show that your information that we logged in with has been saved, I'm gonna log out, and then I'm gonna log back in with your email address that you just gave me. So Joe, and password was, do you remember? 1, 2, 3. All right, and we log in, and it takes me back to this dashboard with the same toys and then same history. So now I'm gonna log out. So something else I did was I made a admin page. In the beginning, I was going to do 2 separate pages, but that proved a little tricky. So what I did was I basically tied the admin to my email. So I did a if statement, I'll show that later, saying if the subscriber ID email matches my email address, then you're gonna redirect me to the admin dashboard. So now I'm gonna use my email address, and I'm gonna put in my password, and it's gonna take me to this dashboard, which is the admin dashboard. So here you have dashboard, you have inventory, and you have logout. So this page right here is hard-coded. This is just from Google Charts, but I haven't yet connected the database to this page right now. But basically what you would have is number of subscribers, the number of signups in the month, the number of active subscribers, and number of shipments this month. And then it has a pie chart here with kids, ages. So yeah, these are hard-coded values. So it's basically saying 45.8% of the kids who are subscribed or whose parents are subscribed are between the ages of 0 and 2, and then 33% are between 3 and 5. When you hover, it shows you that. And then 20% is for 6 years plus. And then when you go to inventory, it's basically just a page to show you what you have in stock and how much of what you have in stock, and then it gives you additional details as well. And then it also gives you a SKU number. So if, for instance, you click on the Lego, you view details, it brings you to this page with 2 images of the Lego set. And then it also gives you a brief description of what that toy is. And then it then gives you the number in stock, and then it gives you a delete option as well. And same with if I were to go to this, my first paint kit, it will also give you 2 images, brief description, number in stock, and then inventory, which was 10. So yeah, I have a delete option. I'm not going to use that for now, but I'll do it at the end of the demo. And in the future, I would like to add ways of adding extra stuff here, like an add and edit button here, because I do want to make it a business in the future. So it's a work in progress. So yeah, that's it.
There was this Shark Tank episode of this business that did swap.
Oh, wow.
It was humongous. It was like $500.
Cool.
They swapped toys with other people. Crazy.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's a lucrative industry.
Yeah. So my schema, I did have a lot of tables, so it's pretty straightforward though. And then, yeah, for the redirect, which I was talking about, I did a if else statement, just saying if you typed in nothing, and it's just going to throw an error, and if you typed in my email address, then it's going to redirect you to the admin dashboard. Else, it will just take you to the regular dashboard. So yeah. Any questions?
Can we see the routes? Okay.
Yes. So here, wrong page.
Oh, I don't think we see, we only see your browser.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's odd. All right, I think I just shared one. I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna do that again. So share, and then that's one, and share. All right.
We actually didn't get to see your schema.
Okay, so this is my schema. So it has a bunch of tables: subscriber table, interest table, subscriber interest, and monthly curations. This is where I struggled a bit because I had to find a way of connecting this to both the subscriber table and the interest table so that the interest that they picked, was it if it was Legos, painting or Legos, that would be remembered and it would be tied into their subscriber ID. So that was a lot of my SQL and it was a struggle. So yeah, it was challenging, but it was a good learning experience for me. So,
good job.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Can you go up?
I'm still sharing.
That's okay. I got it.
Whew, all right.
Send this link out quick. Yeah, so you guys did a great job in a short period of time, like basically 2 weeks. You made a site with a back end with routing, and all the sites you see on the net are basically built like this for the most part. Some of them have some interesting JavaScript frameworks that we'll look into in the coming weeks. But you should be really proud of yourselves. And I slacked out a link to this site right here, 1K Projects. Interesting company. What they do is they let you list projects that are $1,000 or less, right? Like a side project that you made or a website that you made that you just want to sell for under $1,000. Some of them have monthly recurring revenues of $0. It was made by one person, and they were making $800 a month off that one site, which is interesting. They go through the entire process of making the site, launching it, getting angry customers, what they did to change the site to appease them, and then all the way up to selling the site. Yeah, so it's interesting because like a project like this, I mean, some of the projects you guys made, I mean, some of those projects in under 2 weeks are a bit more complicated than this project right here, right? So take a look at this. There's like username, sign up, right? There's projects, and you could sell your side project. I mean, you guys did do enough. Like this is something you guys can totally do, right? You guys can totally build this. So you should be really proud of yourselves. And if you're looking to do something, check out Indie Hackers, right? To see if you're inspired by any projects here, because you could totally be the next Oreo Hackers. In the next few weeks, things that we're going to be covering: MongoDB, that's this week, scraping, MongoDB and scraping. And then the week after, React. And I'm also going to cover React Native, so you can make mobile apps. JWT tokens. So I covered authentication using sessions, but there's a new way of doing authentication using something called JWT tokens. So you can have the same auth on your phone and your website, right? So everything has the same auth. So you log into your phone using the same username and password as you do on your browser. And then something else we're going to also cover is testing, right? So like behavioral-driven testing, integration testing, unit testing, all of those things. Really important. Kit was a student in my previous section. He went on an interview. I was an asshole and was like, "Oh, I don't see any testing on your projects, on your repos." And it's like such a simple thing to learn. So we'll cover it. He of course knows how to do it now, but we'll cover testing and React and all that good stuff. What you were talking about, Derek, with how complicated jQuery got, keeping track of those variables. jQuery, Ajax is really tough too. If you have a ton of things going on, keeping track of all those variables. Like, let's say you have 5 things on a page that update when one variable changes. That's a lot to keep track of, right? make that 10 or 15, it's basically impossible at that point. There's nested queries and everything, whereas React makes that a lot simpler, right? So again, you should be really proud of yourselves, right? If you put any effort into this project, you grew, you made a feature, you should be, super proud. Great job, guys. And